unveil the after side of the built-ins and let you take a look at what we're going to be working towards, and then we're going to walk through it step by step. All right, I'm actually going to step out of the frame for just a minute and let you compare the before to the after and just kind of take it in visually. The items are not the same on both sides, but you can get a pretty good understanding of what you could do to the before side to make it look like the after side. There has been a lot of editing done, so know that that is probably something you will have to do in your own space. Not every single item that you have is going to make the cut when you're editing. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover this back up because it is incredibly distracting visually, and I want all of our attention to be over here on what it is that we need to learn and absorb to accomplish our goal. So say goodbye to the mess. And as soon as this video is over, I'm going to be fixing that. Okay, so now let's focus over here. I'll stand on this side. And I've got some notes to make sure I hit all the highlights for you guys. There's a few things that happened in the after section. And the first thing that I want to note for you is that these are fixed shelves. So even if I wanted to, I wasn't going to be able to adjust the spacing between my shelves. So that just happens to be what I'm working with here. If you're fortunate enough to have adjustable shelves, by all means, mess around with them. You can do the openings between the shelves at different levels so that you can fit different items in there. I'm not able to put a lot of tall items on these because they're fixed. There is no written law to say that all of your shelves have to be equally spaced. So if that's something that has always been a point of contention for you, mess around with it. They don't have to be equally spaced. Get the creative juices flowing and just see what you can do about spacing your shelves a little bit differently. All right, so you'll notice, like I said, there's been a lot of editing. There's not as many items over on this side, the after side of the shelves. So the key thing to remember when you are editing is you don't want to have a million tiny little things lined up all across the shelf. Over here, I chose fewer items, but they're larger in size and in scale. So I made sure to pick things that would create some visual weight and some interest, as opposed to having what looks like 10,000 ants marching across the shelf. There was a little bit of that going on over here, a lot of clusters and clutter, and that doesn't do anybody any good. When you go larger and fewer in terms of your items, it creates a much better impact that is visually pleasing. It feels full, but it's not overwhelming to the eye or to the mind. So keep that in mind. You'll also notice that I've done groupings of items. So here, it's a grouping of books. Over here, I've done another grouping, but I've mixed the type of items that I've put in over here. Done a couple of things down here. You'll also see there's a good rule of thumb when it comes to decorating that says the rule of 3. So you want to always put 3 things together. I would delete the word always, and I would just say, if it feels good, if it looks right, put 3 things together. If not, you can do like what I did here, where I took 1 item, and then I did 2 items down here, and then up here, I did a cluster of 5. Over here, these really don't go together. I did another 2, another 1. This is a big group. And then up here, as my center focal point at the top shelf, I did do a group of 3. So I tell you all of that to tell you, single items are okay. Pairs of items just grouped together are great. 3s, 5s, odd numbers, all of those really work well. It's a matter of getting in there with your shelves and the items that you have to work with to see what makes the most sense. If I had put everything on these shelves in groups of 3, it would have felt very awkward and just very robotic and mechanical. And that is not a look that we are going for in our home. We want to make sure that we have things that reflect us and that are aesthetically appealing. And just having groups of 3 constant does not fit the bill for aesthetically appealing.